Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tosif, and I'm coming in front of you with a new live stream to talk politics. We're going to be talking politics. There's an interesting topic, as you can tell from the title of this live stream. South Carolina, not Sacramento. What's going on in Gavin Newsom's mind? It's an interesting question. South Carolina, not Sacramento. What's going on in Gavin Newsom's mind? My friends, Gavin Newsom reportedly is launching a two-day tour of South Carolina on Tuesday. On Tuesday, meaning today. It's Tuesday. As I'm doing this live stream, this is Tuesday morning. Okay. It's not even 7 a.m. yet. It's going to be this live stream. I don't think it'll be too long because it's early in the morning. It's going to be a 2-day tour of South Carolina. Okay. Gavin Newsom visiting South Carolina. So what? Now, my friends, first of all, you have to understand that Newsom, he's supposed to be in Sacramento. That's his base. That's where he's supposed to be, Sacramento. He's the California governor. He should be in Sacramento working and trying to fix the many problems that the people of California have been facing and still are facing. But Gavin Newsom, instead of spending time in Sacramento, he decided that he's going to go on a two-day tour of South Carolina. Now, if you look on a map, South Carolina and Sacramento are not exactly close. All right. South Carolina is far, far away. South Carolina is in the East Coast. Sacramento, California is on the West Coast. So Gavin Newsom is going on the other side of the country to spend time in South Carolina. Not a few hours, but 2 days. Gavin decided to launch a tour of a state on the other side of the map, and naturally it's raising a lot of questions. People are wondering what exactly is going on in Gavin Newsom's mind. That's the question that I ask at the very beginning. It's the question that is part of the title of this live stream. What's going on in Gavin Newsom's mind? And let me tell you something very interesting. Now, some of you, those who are always keeping track of the news, like myself, you know this already. And then many of you probably don't. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about this. Reportedly, Gavin Newsom is going to be meeting with voters across rural areas of South Carolina. And that's raising further questions. My friends, remember, South Carolina is an early voting state, meaning Gavin Newsom is probably getting ready to run for president. That's what it means. You know, every indication leads to one conclusion, that Gavin Newsom is getting ready to run for president. I understand this is only July of 2025. 2025. This is not 2027. It's 2025. 2027, that's when we're probably going to see more and more potential candidates lining up and getting ready and, becoming more active. 2027, because the presidential election is in 2028. It's far, far away, but this is 2025, and Gavin Newsom is already making moves. He's already trying to send a message to the Democrat voters that, hey, here I am. Pay attention to what I do. Here I am. I'm going to South Carolina. That's what Gavin's trying to do. Because, it's going to be a crowded field. 2028 Democrat primary, it's going to be a crowded field. I can tell you that. And, it's not going to be 2028. Things are going to start rolling in 2027. Things are officially, it's going to start rolling in 2027. Because 2028, that's when the primaries will begin, I think. I don't know the calendar yet. But I think 2028, that's when the primaries will be. So 2027, you're going to see a very, very crowded field. There'll be some heavyweight candidates from the Democrat side, and there'll be some not so heavyweight candidates. A lot of people, they know that they can't win, but they still jump in. It happens. We've seen that. We've seen that on both sides, right? You got people who jump in and they get 1%, 2% support in the polls. They continue for as long as they can, and then they drop out. It's just, they're trying to make an impact. They're trying to get more name recognition. They're trying to see, okay, let's see if, they can get lucky and get some publicity. We've seen that. We've seen that on both sides. If you go back to like 2015, remember how many Republican candidates there were initially? 2015, just think about 2015. How many Republican candidates were there? A lot. Some of the names you can probably still remember. Some names you probably won't remember. So we've seen this. We've seen, crowded Republican field. We've seen crowded Democrat field. For the 2028 cycle, the Democrat field is definitely going to be pretty crowded. And Gavin Newsom is a hopeful, clearly. He does have political ambition. I think he does have ambition for higher office. And he's probably getting ready to run for president. And that's why he's going to South Carolina to basically say, hey, voters, hey, Democrat voters, look at me, look at me. Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does on this tour. There'll be news. There'll be news. We're gonna see some images. We're gonna find out more about where he went, who he spoke with. Reportedly, he is going to be meeting with voters across rural areas of South Carolina. And one might think that after completely failing to manage his own state of California, Gavin Newsom would be giving up his hopes and dreams of running for president. That's what any rational mind would think. Like, Gavin Newsom, look at his record as the governor of California. Complete failure. Complete failure. So there's no way he's going to run for president. One would think that, Gavin would have the common sense to understand that after his record of failure as the governor of California, people are not going to support him for president. Even when you look at the Democrat field, whatever that field may end up being, who else is going to run? AOC is going to run, maybe Josh Shapiro, maybe Andy Beshear, maybe Pete Buttigieg, maybe Kamala Harris, maybe J.B. Pritzker. Who else? Who else will run? Maybe Wes Moore, maybe Rahm Emanuel, interesting name, Rahm Emanuel, maybe he's going to run. Who else could it be? Who else? There'll be names probably that we're not thinking about right now. As I said, it's going to be a crowded field. And one might think that Gavin Newsom would realize his own failures. He would realize that because he failed as the governor of California, there's no way that people are going to trust him for the office of the president. Even Democrat voters will reject him. Even people from his home state of California will reject him and say, Gavin, no, you're not the one. But it seems that Gavin Newsom's hopes and dreams of the U.S. presidency are pushing him forward. Gavin Newsom is probably feeling that this is it. This is his chance. 2028. Because, he can't run for re-election for the governor of California. That he cannot do because of term limit. Term limit. So what is Gavin Newsom going to do? By the time it's time for the primary, by the time the Democrat primary arrives, he's going to be former governor. And he's likely running. It seems that he's serious about running. Now remember, my friends, South Carolina was the state that officially held the first Democrat primary for the 2024 presidential cycle. And Joe Biden was the 2024 South Carolina primary winner at the time as an incumbent. He had that advantage. He had the advantage as an incumbent. So Joe Biden won the South Carolina primary. This time, in 2028, it's going to look very different because this is not 2024. There is no incumbent Democrat president. So it's open. Whoever can get that victory in South Carolina, if South Carolina ends up being the first primary state, I don't know. I think it'll be South Carolina. It could be Nevada, could be New Hampshire. I don't know. But anyway, South Carolina is one of those early voting states. Okay. And I think Gavin Newsom hopes to be that winner. Marge is here. Jesse is here. Terry Gilly is here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Good morning to you. My friends, if you are watching this, please make sure that you're participating in the live chat. I know it's early in the morning, but I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so very much. Before you start your day, just spend a short amount of time with me here before you start your day. I know it's a Tuesday. It's going to be a busy Tuesday. But before you start your day, this discussion is not going to be too long. I'm not going to be spending 2 hours here, okay? Because I have a busy day in front of me. But I woke up and I thought there are certain things I need to discuss. In particular, this topic, Gavin Newsom's tour of South Carolina, starting on Tuesday, starting today. So hopefully you're going to be keeping track of what Gavin Newsom does during his visit to South Carolina. It'll be interesting to see. Follow social media, since we know that he's going to be meeting voters in South Carolina. I'm sure there'll be lots of cameras when he's making stops. There'll be social media posts, there'll be photos. Maybe he'll talk to the media. Maybe he'll give us some information about why he's visiting South Carolina. We know already. We know already, but maybe we'll hear from him. Who knows? What is he going to say when people ask, when reporters ask, Mr. Newsom, what are you doing in South Carolina? Maybe he's going to say, oh, I'm just here to check out the state. Oh, I'm here to see what's going on, with the weather. Oh, I'm here on vacation. Is he here on vacation? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out what Gavin Newsom says, We need to hear from him. Mr. Newsom, Governor Newsom, what are you doing in South Carolina? You should be in Sacramento, not South Carolina. What are you doing here? We'll find out what he says, hopefully, right? By the way, Terry Gilly, thank you for the kind compliment. I appreciate that. Mike Man, is it Mike Man? Mike Man is here. Thank you all. Please make sure that you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you like this video, share this video, spread the word. Give me 1 second. Lou is here. Hello, Lou. Gavin Newsom is being proactive in making the trip to South Carolina. Reportedly, Gavin is going to make 8 stops during his visit to South Carolina. 8 stops. And these stops would include visit to coffee shops, cafes and coffee shops, and also churches. Okay? Now, South Carolina, you know this, it's a great state for the Republicans. It is a red state. Lou says, hello from Charleston, South Carolina, USA. Lou, thank you. Lou, thanks for being here, Lou. Lou is from Charleston, South Carolina. Lou, let me ask you, since you're from South Carolina, I'm here in Wisconsin. Lou is in South Carolina, so from Wisconsin to South Carolina, here's a question. Why do you think Gavin's visiting South Carolina? Is he going to run for president? Lou, what do you think? Lou is saying we are a red state. Absolutely. I agree with that. I think that's what I just said. Yes. It's a red state. But for the Democrats, it's an early voting state. And so Gavin Newsom, as I said, he wants to get that Democrat Party nomination. He wants to make that early impact in the Democrat primary. He wants to send a message to the Democrat voters and the Democrat donors and the Democrat volunteers and the Democrat supporters that he is the candidate. He is the one they should pick. And so he's visiting South Carolina. Cafes and coffee shops and churches. Democrat presidential candidates, they want, because it's going to be a crowded field, I can tell you that. They want an early lead. They want an early lead. In a crowded field, they want an early lead. Everyone wants an early lead. And I think Newsom is taking the steps to have that early lead. Now, he does have an advantage. I'll tell you that. I'm going to give you a fair assessment. Among the Democrats, the advantage that Newsom has is that he's from California. and California has a lot of big Democrat donors. You've got Hollywood in California. So the Hollywood elites, they are probably going to be putting a lot of money into the 2028 Democrat presidential primary. So what Newsom is trying to do is send a message to the Hollywood donors, to the big money California Democrat Party donors, that he's the one they should be looking at. Okay? Right? What do you think? Hollywood's probably getting ready to spend a lot of money in 2028 for the 2028 cycle. Hollywood is trying to decide, I think, who they should spend money on. Is it going to be Kamala once again? Is it going to be Pete Buttigieg? Is it going to be Josh Shapiro? Or is it going to be socialist Bernie or socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Is it going to be Andy Bashir, whose name too many people have not heard? Like, still, sometimes when I talk about Andy Bashir, people say, who? Andy who? Yeah, exactly. Andy who? Andy Bashir, okay, Democrat. And then also Wes Moore. Some are saying, Wes Moore is the future of the party. Wes Moore, he's going to be the one leading the party. Really, you think so? How many people know Wes Moore? Find out. Go do a search on Google, Wes Moore. Rahm Emanuel may run. He's the one I'm paying attention to. Okay? Very, very experienced politician, Democrat. So, he doesn't have a lot of good ideas. Because he's a Democrat, right? Democrat politics, Democrat policies, they don't have a lot of good ideas. But looking at the possible Democrat field, he's one that people should be paying attention to, Rahm Emanuel. So Gavin Newsom is trying to get that early lead. Okay? He wants to capture the attention of the big donors by having an early lead in South Carolina, by trying to win South Carolina. 3 states are going to be very, very important for the Democrat presidential candidates: South Carolina, New Hampshire, and Nevada. Now, I don't think we know the exact primary calendar yet for 2028. Okay, the Democrat primary calendar, I don't think we have that. But South Carolina, I think, is going to continue to be an early voting state. So Gavin is going to spend 2 days in South Carolina. My friends, Gavin Newsom spent all these years in California not managing California properly. He spent all these years in California, and what has he done? What has he achieved? What has he done for California? Gavin Newsom was sworn in as the governor of California in 2019. And now it's 2025. From 2019 to 2025, this is Gavin Newsom's second term in office. And what has Newsom done for California? Destiny is saying, you manage it then, quit talking. Well, Destiny, why do you say that? Destiny is saying, you can see it in the live chat. Destiny is saying, you manage it then, quit talking. Destiny, I am not in California. I am not a California resident. I don't live in California. Destiny is saying, quit talking. You manage it then. You're asking me to manage California? I am not from California. I don't live in California. California is not my home state. It's not my home state. It's not my job to manage California. Destiny's saying, if you're not from California, then don't talk about it then. Well, why don't you why don't you say that to why don't you say something similar to Gavin Newsom? Why don't you tell Gavin Newsom, hey Gavin, you're not from South Carolina. No need to visit South Carolina. Why don't you say that, Destiny? Why don't you say that to Gavin Newsom? Tell Gavin Newsom, hey, Gavin, you're not from South Carolina. South Carolina is on the other side of the map, on the other side of the country, on the other coast. Why are you visiting South Carolina? You got a job in California. You got a job in Sacramento. Why don't you fix the problems that California is facing? Why don't you take care of the people of California? What are you going to be doing spending 2 days in South Carolina? Why don't you say that to Gavin, Destiny? I am I am a writer. I'm a political commentator. I'm a policy analyst. I'm a podcaster. I will talk about things that are happening in our country and around the world. My YouTube channel is about social and political issues, both domestic and international. So, yes, I'll talk politics, I'll talk policy, I'll talk about the things that are happening in society, I'll talk about international relations. That's what I do. That's why I have this YouTube channel. I also have a podcast that you can check out. It's called Explore and Engage with Anam. You can look it up. Explore and Engage with Anam. Destiny is saying he was on vacation, LOL, in South Carolina. Ha 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 ha. No, it's not a vacation. You gotta keep track of the news, Destiny. He's not visiting South Carolina for vacation. He's going to be talking to the rural voters. He's going to be making stops at cafes and coffee shops and churches. He is trying to advance his political career by going to South Carolina. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. He can do whatever he wants, but my message to the people is this. If Gavin Newsom could not manage California properly, he cannot be trusted with a higher political office. Look at what he has done in California. California is a state where people are suffering because of high cost of living, because of high gas price, because of homelessness, because California is a sanctuary for the illegals. There's lawlessness, there's unrest in California, and many people are moving out of California. California is in such a mess that people are moving out of California. You know where they are going? A lot of people are going to Texas, red state Texas. That's where a lot of Californians are going. A lot of people in general are going to Texas. And there are other wonderful states. You look at South Dakota. What a beautiful state. You look at Tennessee. Florida, yes. Mert just wrote Florida, red state Florida. People are moving to Florida. People are moving out of California. So, what makes Gavin Newsom think that he can be the president? Can he even get to the Democrat Party nomination? Do you think Gavin Newsom can win the Democrat Party nomination? Just honest question. Tell me. There'll be a lot of people running, a lot of names being mentioned. There are names being mentioned, and there'll probably be people running for president from the Democrat Party side whose names are not being mentioned yet. AOC, J.B. Pritzker, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Rahm Emanuel, Wes Moore, Andy Bashir. Who else? There may be other names, and Gavin has to compete. Do you think that Gavin Newsom can get to the Democrat Party nomination? Do you see? So if you've got a crystal ball, and you can see the future, you know what's going to happen in 2028. If you have that ability, I don't. I can guess. I try to see the trends and the trajectory and the polls. I use my observation, I use my knowledge, and I try to make, you know, I don't necessarily make predictions, but I try to explain to people where things are going, what seems likely, what seems unlikely. So my question to you is, if you have the ability to see the future or to make a prediction, it's hard to predict, but if you have the ability to make that prediction, to see the future, if you can close your eyes and you can see visions of 2028, tell me, do you see Gavin Newsom as the Democrat Party nominee for president? Tell me. Answer that question. Destiny is saying yes, sir. All right, Destiny. All right. All right. So Destiny thinks that Gavin Newsom is going to be the Democrat Party nominee. All right, that's fine. If yeah, if that's what you think, that's fine. I'm asking you a question, and whatever you answer, fine. Fine. All right. Destiny, I'm just curious, are you from California? Oh, you're from California. Okay, okay. So you're from Gavin State. All right. My friends, it'll be very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see what Gavin does in South Carolina in these 2 days. Who he talks to, who he meets, what they discuss. What they discuss. You know, I'm going to share with you one thing which I talked about previously. Give me 1 second, all right? I'm going to share with you some poll data that I talked about previously during a live stream, I think. And this is going to be very important for you to understand. This is Emerson College polling, June 2025, national poll, looking at some possible Democrat candidates, presidential candidates. And the question is, looking ahead to the 2028 Democratic presidential race, among the following candidates, who would you support for the Democratic nomination? And there's a long list of names. There's Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Josh Shapiro, Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, Gretchen Whitmer, Andy Bashir, J.B. Pritzker, Wes Moore, Amy Klobuchar, Rahm Emanuel. And then there are 2 other options. One is someone else, and one is undecided. And Gavin Newsom got 12%, which, among the individuals, that's third highest. The highest was Pete Buttigieg. The highest overall was undecided with 23%. But undecided is not a human being. Among the human beings, among the candidates listed, Pete Buttigieg got 16%, Kamala Harris got 13%, Gavin Newsom got 12%. And then AOC got 7, Josh Shapiro got 7, Bernie got 5, Cory Booker got 3, Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan got 3, Andy Beshear, whose name a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know who Andy Beshear is. He got 2%. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, got 2%. Wes Moore got 2%. Amy Klobuchar got 1%. Rahm Emanuel got 1%. Someone else, okay, there was this option. Someone else got 2%. Undecided got 23%. So most, a lot of people are undecided. But Gavin Newsom getting the third rank in the poll at 12%. I think that's what gave him the energy. Like, oh, maybe he can get a little bit more and maybe cross Kamala, maybe cross Pete Buttigieg and get the lead. Who knows? That is probably what is giving him hope. And that's why he's going to South Carolina. And you know what? Over the course of Tuesday, over the course of Wednesday, let us all pay attention to the news coming out of South Carolina. What places will Gavin Newsom visit? Cafes, coffee shops, churches. What will he be doing when he goes there? He's going to be talking to the voters. What conversations will they have? Is he going to be giving speeches? Is he going to be shaking a lot of hands? Is he going to be answering a lot of questions? We have to wait and see. We'll see what he does. We'll see what he does. But looking at his home state of California, it's a complete mess. The people of California need help. But instead of focusing on California, Gavin Newsom is going to South Carolina. My friends, I want to hear your thoughts. So make sure that you're sharing your thoughts with me. Please do that. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it, my friends. Share your thoughts with me. By the way, I'm going to give you my email address. Who wants to email me? Do you want to email me? My email address is tossif@tossifanam.net. I put that in the chat box. You can see that, tossif@tossifanam.net. Write it down. Send me an email. If there's a topic you want me to discuss, send me that topic. If you have questions you want me to answer, send me your questions. I'll do my best to review all that. If I know the answer, I'll answer, okay? Send me your questions. Stay in touch with me, my friends. I would appreciate that very, very much. Okay? Send me your questions. That's all I have for now. That's all I have for now. Gavin Newsom going to California, from California to South Carolina. Okay. Send me an email, my friends. And hopefully after his trip, we can talk about what Gavin Newsom did during his visit to South Carolina. So, my friends, that's all I have for now. Thank you so very much. Please make sure that you're subscribing to this channel. Please make sure that you're liking this video. And actually, I asked a poll question. The question was, do you think that California's Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom will run for president? I'm going to end the poll and report the results to you right now. 38 votes, 65% said yes. So, yeah, that's what people are thinking. People are thinking that, yeah, Gavin Newsom will run for president. I think so too. I think he's going to run for president. He's not going to win. He may not even get the Democrat Party nomination, but he's going to run. He's going to try. All right. A viewer is asking who is the best Lost character. Are you asking about the show Lost? Are you asking about the TV series Lost? Is that what you're asking? Jamie is saying good morning, Tassif. Good morning, Jamie. I got an interesting question. Are you asking about the show TV series Lost? Is that what you're asking about? Unrelated to politics, obviously, but I got an interesting question. But I want to make sure that's the question that the person is asking me. I can answer. I did watch the show Lost. I don't know. Okay, the person who asked the question isn't following up. Um, yeah, I think Desmond's character was interesting, right? Desmond in Lost. Jack was the main character. That was interesting too, but Desmond was an interesting character in Lost. Desmond. All the characters were very, very interesting. So anyway, all right, my friends, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap it up. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I'm gonna end this live stream, but I'm going to be back with more videos, more live streams, more podcast episodes. So please stay connected. All right. I appreciate that. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. And hopefully you can tune in for next for next live stream. Thank you. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful day, and I'm going to be back again very soon. God bless you all. Thank you.